Since the commencement of the implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals in Nigeria on the 1st of January 2016, President Muhammadu Buhari-led federal government has continued to take concrete steps towards the actualization of the goals, building on the principle of leaving no one behind. With security posing a serious challenge to the smooth actualization of the goals in Nigeria, there has been a concomitant effect on the rate of unemployment, and which has also in turn been identified as a major factor fueling the insecurity. It is in a bid to tackle this challenge that President Muhammadu Buhari recently initiated the National Poverty Reduction with Growth Strategy (NPRGS) with a plan to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty. Consistent with its strategic efforts to lead the country's commitment to the attainment of the SDGs, the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals has been rallying stakeholders across the country to forge the needed strategic partnership in the implementation of the goals. One of such efforts is evident in the planned collaboration between the Office of the Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk-Sharing System for Agricultural Lending (NIRSAL), with the overall aim of creating jobs and empowerment of Nigerian women and youth across the country by leveraging on the agriculture and agribusiness as strategic tool for pulling millions out of poverty and in effect bringing to an end the security challenges in the country. At a high-power meeting between the two organizations recently held at the head office of NIRSAL PLC, the chief executives restated the importance of addressing poverty as encapsulated in Goal 1 in the overall quest to deliver on the other 16 goals. To this end, the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals and NIRSAL will be collaborating to deploy the agribusiness models of NIRSAL to tackle endemic poverty in the country.
But agriculture is the highest, above manufacturing, above services, above everyone else. 25%, employs 70% of Nigeria's population. But yet, we are rich and yet poor. 83 million people living below the poverty line. And then, before this administration, this country used to import up to $22 billion of various kinds of food, feed, and fiber. Just throwing money to making markets for other countries. But it has changed dramatically. To maximize the potential of agriculture, because that's the vehicle now that brought us together, how can SDG be achieved using agriculture and agribusiness model? Through the NASDRA way. We all know that we have those opportunities. We have the land, the water, the population, the market, everything. This is God-given. Nobody made it, God gave it to us. But they will remain what they are as potential until and unless we apply these four capitals to it. We have to have technology capital to do modern agribusiness. We have to have equipment capital. We have to have the brain capital to design, to calibrate, and to deliver on a project. And then we have to have finance capital. The key point for NASDRA is we are the gateway to finance capital. Because when you have finance capital, it unlocks technology. You can buy equipment. You can even hire human brain to do your project execution.
The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of NIRSAL, Aliyu Abdulhamid, who described NIRSAL as a veritable vehicle of achieving the SDGs through smallholder farmer-based, optimized, profitable, and market-enabled agriculture and agribusiness SMEs in Nigeria, gave insights on the need for the partnership and inherent benefits, especially on its critical importance in addressing food insecurity and advancing agricultural development in Nigeria and the implementation of the SDGs.
The two institutions came together to see, in the course of the daily activities of NASDRA in catalyzing finance and investment to agricultural value chains, to what degree can there be complementary support from the Office of the SDG in terms of probably taking to scale certain models that were proven on the ground. For example, our geo-cooperative model that is very inclusive of smallholder farmers, youth, women, and environmental sustainability. The NASDRA Climate Smart Irrigation model that relies on gas-powered irrigation system and solar-powered irrigation systems. The ICLP, which is the Integrated Livestock Project that puts the livestock in one place with grass and water in a business-like approach. So all these models have been proven by NIRSAL and have been proven to be inclusive. And by the time you look at the economic perspective of these projects, you see, like I said earlier, that most of the sustainable development goals would have been achieved. And therefore, instead of operating in silos, we realize the two institutions can come together and see how we can support each other.
The Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, Princess Adejoke Orilokpe Adefolire, noted the agribusiness models of NASDRA PLC align perfectly with the socio-economic goals and targets of the SDGs.
Working together as a stake actor, we are major players in this responsibility. How can we make it better? In all the SDG goals, all of these are embedded in it, and especially how your own organization is more critical in all of this, because it has to do with livelihood, how we will live.
Yeah.
So without food, we can't live. Not only food, also to sort out some of the major social development indices and the goals of SDG. Yeah. Example for goal 1 to 6 is social development, and speak to all of these things. Because if you don't have poverty, you don't have business having problem with all the other goals, 1 to 6. Mm-hmm. And it's also aligned with the economic development. And when the economy is booming, then we can sustain our planet, we can mitigate the effect of the climate change and all of that.
Mr. President has committed to lifting 100 million people out of poverty. I believe it's about 10 million people every year for the next 10 years. When you look at agricultural commodity value chains in Nigeria, maybe 20, 25, 30 of them, every single commodity, whether it's the fish value chain, grains value chain, rice, maize, sesame, poultry value chain, every single value chain, when broken down its component parts, pre-upstream, upstream, midstream, downstream, presents vertical and horizontal opportunities for creating jobs, for actually creating different categories of jobs, and it is irrespective of whether you are a professor or a stark illiterate. The agricultural sector provides opportunity for everyone to get something to do. For every job, for every 1 hectare you finance in agriculture, you finance a farmer, you can be sure part of his family, almost all his family members will be involved, not to talk of other laborers and other labor services from the community. So for every unit of agricultural activity, we believe that between 4 to 6 additional direct and indirect jobs can be created. And therefore, by financing all those agricultural activities horizontally along each commodity value chain and vertically for each component, for each SME, you create those jobs. By creating those jobs, you create wealth amongst the people. You create economic surplus. With economic surplus, people are able to meet their needs and have spending power to buy more services. And that way, it has a knock-on effect on the rest of the economy. So we believe by being supported in the field from the Office of SDG, we can take also these models to scale. And what do I mean by scale? It means employing more people. When you employ the direct beneficiaries, they also employ indirectly other beneficiaries. In that way, we can contribute our quota to the commitment of Mr. President to lift 100 million people out of poverty.
To operationalize and advance the partnership and achieve their aligning mandates, a technical committee was set up to work out the fine details of the collaboration. The Nigeria Incentive-Based Risk Sharing System for Agricultural Lending, NIRSAL, is designed with the objective of enabling the flow of affordable financing to all players along entire agricultural value chains. It reduces the risk of financing institutions while granting agricultural loans by building the capacities of both banks and value chain actors on good practices in the agricultural financing, loans, utilization, and repayment. In the same vein, the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals is also collaborating with the National Directorate of Employment, NDE, with the overall aim of equipping women and youth across the country with life skills that will help to address poverty in the country. While receiving the NDE team, who were on a courtesy visit to the OSSAP SDGs, led by the Director General of the agency, Malam Abubakar Nuhu, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, Princess Adejoke Orilokbe Adefulire, said that creating job opportunities for youth and empowering women is a huge task that must be achieved in the bid to eradicate poverty.
Let's look at it how we can do general empowerment in terms of skill development and different vocational training we do for them, because if president says you want to lift 100 million people out of poverty, he has charged all of us. He's not going to do it himself alone. He's going to encourage all of us to work together, and when you have a difficult task, take it to him. He has challenged all of us, not only NDE. NDE is the bus stop for job creation, but all of us must work with NDE to ensure that that is achieved. I must say that your own job is very critical to the achievement of SDGs, because it's about job creation, it's about poverty reduction. When you talk about poverty reduction, no poverty, no hunger, no this, no that, it has to be job. Job, direct job, indirect job. Because without job, you cannot earn any money. You are very, very critical to our acceleration of SDGs. Very critical because it's job. What other area that's very critical is peace. It's peace. Because without peace, what we are talking about is nonsense. We need to work more and do more so that we can focus our energy on providing job for your agency and see how we can synergize and make sure that we get this job available for people.
Princess Adejoke added that when youth and women are equipped with skills of financial sustainability, they will be unavailable to criminality. She emphasized the need for women empowerment and further explained that cases of domestic violence and child trafficking are usually prevalent where the women do not have means of livelihood to support themselves and their families, thereby exposing them to the vulnerability of human traffickers and other crimes. The Director General of the NDE, Malam Abubakar Nuhu, in his remarks, commended the SDGs boss for her uncommon leadership strides, passion for the betterment of women, and her unreserved commitment towards the actualization of the Sustainable Development Goals in Nigeria, which the DG said dates back to Princess Adejoke's time as a commissioner and later deputy governor in Lagos State.
We are privileged. The office of the Senior Special Assistant is also privileged to have somebody in the person of Her Excellency to spearhead the activities of the office, because I'm not surprised that in all our state offices, the Lagos State Office stands to be the first because of several engagements, because of the provisions made by state governments. I was there about a week ago and I saw the office that was allocated to the NDE in Lagos State. I was wondering that who could have done this? Little did I know that there was somebody, there was a commissioner who was there not for 4 years, not for 8 years, but for 12 years, doing something with with the passion and dedication that the NDE also carries. So now I know why. We thank you very much for the support at that time, and we are counting on more support even now.
In the partnership, both the SDGs office and NDE will be jointly deploying the skill development platforms of the NDE and the numerous skill acquisition and vocational centers constructed and equipped by OSSAP SDGs to empower youth and women with life skills that will lift them out of poverty and make them financially independent.
We are here in order to continue to drive the passion and the wish of Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari in trying to key into his desire to lift 100 million unemployed Nigerians and others out of poverty. That is the essence. And one of the key things to do is to try to collaborate, is to try to also synergize, and then we come out with very positive areas where we can work together, the NDE can work together with the SDG in order to promote and to achieve that. Having, remembered the fact that during the Millennium Development Goals, there was an existing collaboration between the NDE and the MDG, and that gave us an opportunity to really walk ahead, to really achieve certain some goals. And now that with the coming of the SDG from the Millennium Development Goals, we believe that those achievements which we attained during the Millennium Development Goals can be maintained and sustained in order that we can have a wider and effective, spread of the activities we are embarking on in order to create jobs for unemployed Nigerians.
The partnership drive by the SDGs office to rally stakeholders for peace and poverty reduction has also seen the office working with the National Space Research and Development Agency, NIRSAL, with the view geared towards making space technology applications an integral part of the overall strategies for sustainable national development. The collaboration is aimed at building resilient infrastructure, fostering innovation, and promoting inclusive and sustainable industrialization. The Director General of NASDRA, Dr. Ahmed Shaba Halilu, who was in the SDGs office on the interagency collaboration, noted that space and science technology fits invariably into all the goals of the SDGs, and that the partnership with the SDGs office will engender the development of modern space technology project with the goal of obtaining useful data that will help improve food security across the country.
The purpose of this meeting is to identify with the office that is concerned with the Sustainable Development Goals, noting the fact that out of all the 17 development goals, the space, science, and technology fits into most of the goals. And I can tell you that it fits invariably into all the goals. If you want to end poverty, if it is education, if it is clean water, we are part of the monitoring, we are part of the reporting, and we are also part of the assessment and also indication of where Nigeria needs to go into, because it is only after evaluation that you know the much efforts that you are making, where it has taken you, and then what requires to be done. So, and we felt that since most of the developed worlds are using the same space, science, and technology for their sustainable development goals, which will make it available because we have a common aim and vision. And what is the common aim and vision? That is reducing poverty and increasing socio-economic development. And that is the purpose for which the space that is the purpose for which the space technology is made available to Nigerians, because we want to reach each corner, each area, each man, each woman on the street. So virtually until when we have programs like this and we partner, that's when we're able to reach each and everybody in Nigeria.
The secretary of the programs in the SDGs office, Engineer Ahmed Kawu, who received the NASDRA team, will continue to work assiduously with partners to deliver on the SDG. Aside the non-kinetic approach, the President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration has also continued to demonstrate increased commitment towards putting an end to banditry, kidnapping, and insurgency in the bid to ensuring peace which is a major requirement for development and one of the 5 pillars for the implementation of the SDGs. The SDGs office, in line with this, also expanding its partnership drive to the relevant security stakeholders with the aim of promoting peaceful atmosphere required for attracting investments and ensuring prosperity for the people. The office is particularly working with the Nigerian Air Force. The Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Isiaka Oladayo Amao, who recently paid a courtesy call on the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Sustainable Development Goals, Princess Adejoke Orilokbe Adefulire, revealed this after the meeting.
We just came to pay courtesy call on the SSA, Sustainable Development Goal. We have been seeing the good work they have been doing, at least all over the country, and we felt that the Air Force is also a part of the larger society, though we're in barracks, so we don't want to remain confined to the barrack.